Welcome to the Volunteer Youth Worker Podcast. Youth ministries rise and fall on the volunteers, so we are here to encourage and equip you. Join the conversation as we tackle the practical questions you are asking so you can help the next generation know Jesus.
Hey everyone, this is Jeremy with a quick note before we jump into today's conversation. As you probably saw in the show notes, this episode originally aired on July 30th, 2019. And so every once in a while we come to a season as we're kind of live in the release of this episode. It's summertime. And so we're like, oh, it'd be great to give volunteers just some ideas on, connecting with students through the summer. And then we're like, oh yeah, we did that. We actually had a great conversation about that. It was like forever ago. And so I went back and listened to it, and Sid and I are like, yeah, this is still pretty good advice. So in light of that, this is an older conversation, but the wisdom holds true. Listen, and you're going to hear Sid unload some great ideas on why you should connect with students through the summer. Even if your ministry isn't running regularly, there are still ways that you can do that. And then he'll end the episode with a great couple of questions that you can use to spark spiritual conversations even throughout these summer months. And so take a listen, and I think this is going to be helpful as you work through these next couple of months if you're listening to this episode live. We've got a great question coming in for today. What's a good way to connect with your students through this summer? Coming in, we're kind of guessing this is more of a question of if your group doesn't meet so much regularly through the summer, and you still you're going to be a small group leader in the fall. So you've got these students who you're no longer meeting. You've got a little bit of a break here. It's the warm months. This is fun, but you want to stay connected with those students so you don't have to restart everything. Come September. What are some ideas for connecting with students who are maybe all over the map? Do you got some ideas for them, Sid?
Yeah, well, first of all, Jared, one of the things I think summer is such a really cool reset space and a great opportunity for us to connect with kids in different ways and connect with different kids. So I used to kind of see summer a little bit as, okay, we're going to push pause on everything and just kind of relax, regroup, and then we'll carry on in the fall. And I think change of pace is awesome. But here's what happened to me, Jared. We moved from Lethbridge to Kelowna in the middle of the summer, and my two boys, especially Peyton was in grade 7 at that time, Cole's like grade 5. And what we found was that they were longing to connect into a new community in the middle of the transition, but many of the youth ministries weren't really functioning during that time. So it was hard to find to actually find an opportunity for that to take place. And in fact, the first youth ministry that really invited them into community was the youth ministry that got my boys. So I think summer programming and connecting in the summer is actually, we need to be more intentional about that than I used to think we were. Simply because new people are coming to the community looking for a place to land. Now, just a couple of thoughts on that real quick too, Jared. The other opportunity that summer presents is that lots of kids, especially junior high kids, have a lot of discretionary time, and they're looking for things to do with that time, and parents would love their kids to have something to do during that time. So summer is a great space where you can have your core kids invite their buddies to come and hang with you. You create any kind of fun activity. You've got a better chance of grabbing a lot of kids to be able to do that. So I just think the point is that this is a great opportunity for us to invest relationally that can have really significant long-term effects throughout our ministry. So I think summer is a really, really cool opportunity for us.
I love it. And I think so if you're splitting off maybe middle school students that have got that extra time, and if you're a small group leader over middle school students, maybe something easy that you can do is to pull those crew in and get them to be a part of maybe a project around your house. You think you've got some yard work going on, maybe you've got a painting project, and that's an easy, great way to invite them in, because it can be hard to figure out, like, what do you do with middle school students in the middle of the summer, like if there's not typical programming running, but they are great, cheap, a very affordable labor. They'll work for pizza oftentimes, and they'll love it. They'll love doing it. It's actually a big win for them.
In fact, you know what, Jared? I think that service project idea is really cool. So again, you don't have to do a lot of planning for it, and it doesn't just have to be your
project.
place.
You just took a nice spiritual turn there, Sid. I was thinking more of just the yard work that I have to do in my backyard, but you can turn it into a service project too. That's great. Go down to the shelter, we'll find the food bank. But whatever you do,
hey, I'm saying, hey, listen, really good point. So here's the deal. A, get them to come to your place, help clean the yard, then have a barbecue after you're done, serve them a bunch of burgers, play some game in the backyard, and you're going to have an awesome connecting point. Here's one of the things that's super valuable about that, by the way, Jared. Like, I know we talk about this as cheap labor, ha, 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 connecting moment, ha, ha, ha. But one of the things that's really significant about that is the kids get a chance to see you functioning outside of the program moment in your youth ministry. And so it's an opportunity for them to see, how does faith work itself out in the day-to-day moments in the life of my youth leaders? So whether how they're interacting with their kids and their family in the home, how they do their job, how they interact with me. I think that's actually more significant than we give it credit. The other thing is you gather a bunch of junior high kids and you can go hit a couple of other people's places too and do it together. And again, same principle. You're having great experience together. You get to work together. You're building into their character. You get to have great conversations. That's awesome. So I think that kind of an idea is a really great idea, Jerry. I love that.
Yeah, and there's some actual skills that you can teach students too, which is kind of fun. So I remember being in high school, and our small group, we learned how to do some basic landscaping, do some very basic, but work renovating our small group leader's basement. It was fun. Everybody had a great time. You got a chance to hang out with your friends, learn something really valuable along for the ride too. So if you can teach your students that, I think that's excellent as well. Now, if you've got high school students, Sid, and they might be, your students might be at jobs, or they might be working at camp. There might be a way, that kind of thing. What's a good way to connect with students that maybe aren't local?
Yeah, so two things that I think are really a great opportunity is, again, if I got my high school kids that are working, after I'm done my job or they're done my job, it's a great chance to just grab them for a Coke, maybe even connect with them at their workplace. I don't underestimate the value of actually showing up at their workplace appropriately and just interacting with them there, saying, hey, love what you're doing, think this is awesome. Can I get you on your break? Something like that I think is super cool. So I think that's great with our high school kids. We've talked about it in the past. If you're a volunteer worker, so you're working a 9 to 5, either in the evenings or on the weekends, if you can get to them at their camp, you can bring them like a gift package. If you can bring a care package to students who are working at camp, that's a huge winner for you. If you can you hear the dog barking in the background by any chance right now? Hey, welcome to our live podcast. So fun.
Yeah, that's not going to make it out in post-production. That will be, yeah.
We can shut that down. So if you can get a chance to get to camp with them, do the care package thing, I think that's a really cool play. You get a chance to just get there and say, hey, how can I pray for you? Or the other option, and I want to be careful about this because we have different plan to protect policies around this, but when kids are working at camp, they might get a day or 24-hour break. And if you can have them to your place on the weekend, do their laundry, do a barbecue in the backyard again, maybe if they want to crash in a tent, if you have a nice backyard, like all those things can be really cool ways to connect with your high school kids, which I think is great. I want to say one other thing about the middle school kids in particular, Jared. I think some planned programming is really helpful, especially for your middle school or junior high kids. So I don't give up on a consistent midweek type experience. I know in Edmonton with the church that I'm working with, our guys are running something every week, but we turn it into a heavy relational building. A really great opportunity for kids to bring their unchurched friends to. And we're already trying to add elements that can bridge to the fall. So they still do a quick 10-minute Devo as a part of that gathering time together. They'll share things like, hey, if you guys come back in the fall, we explore these topics, maybe a little bit broader. So we're still trying to connect the dots, but we're committed to that consistent programming piece that has high fun, high relational element to it. And I think that's a big win as well when we can consistently continue to connect with those kids in that way.
Yeah, so it could be worth a good conversation with your point leader about trying to plan something through the summer just to make sure that those connections keep happening. And I know we mentioned a lot of different connecting points, Sid, but you did say, and we should reiterate, you've got to check with your plan to protect your policies at your church. You just want to make sure that if you're dropping in, even if you're dropping in a public place with a student, at their place of employment or something like that, that it's just kosher, that people kind of know that that's something that you're doing, that maybe you've let the parents know ahead of time. Hey, I know so-and-so, works at McDonald's. Obviously you're going to bump into students just randomly and that happens. That's great. But if you're intentionally going, just make sure that you mention that to somebody else just to get, some good accountability with that so that people understand what you're up to.
And that's actually the same thing with camp as well. Like, again, we highly value youth pastors coming onto our camp to connect with our students who are in leadership here. But it's really great to respect the leadership of the camp, make sure they know you're coming, make sure that's okay. They'll also have plan to protect policy. So if you're going to spend any kind of significant time on the campus, you may need to have your record check, which you probably should have had done to volunteer in your church in the first place. So just some of those things that just acknowledge the leadership and the policies and the systems that they have in place. I think it's just important for us to be aware of as we continue to connect with our kids. So summer is awesome, you guys. You get to have so much outdoor fun. And I think that would be the other thing, Jared. Get outdoors, go for a hike with the kids, hang out at the beach if you're in those types of environments. Be with them in that space and enjoy the relationships and invite them into your space. So again, if I'm doing like you said, just to recap, doing a project, come do a project with me. If I'm doing a day trip, and come do day trip with me. Kids have a lot, especially junior high kids, a lot of discretionary time. Parents will love you if you have constructive things that you can do with those kids during that time. That's going to be an awesome win for you.
Let me ask you one last question about this, Sid, because as you're saying that, I'm wondering, is there a good one or two just kind of spiritual questions that group leaders could ask their students if they get a chance to hang out with them this summer that just continues that kind of spiritual conversation?
Yeah, that's awesome. So the type of questions that I use is just, again, in the natural environment. I just might say, again, depending on if this is a kid I have a long-term relationship with already, I might just say, hey, tell me a little bit, what are the things that are really positively affecting your relationship with God this summer? So I might ask that type of a question. So that allows them to kind of share in a fairly non-threatening way. If my relationship is deeper with them, I might ask the question, hey, are there things going on this summer with you that I can be praying about that maybe are more difficult for you in terms of your journey with God or others? Anytime, by the way, as leaders, we can ask the question, how can I pray for you? That's always a win for us. Hey, is there something I can be praying about for you? And no matter, whatever kind of background a kid has, my experience has been that when I simply engage, hey, is there something I can be praying about for you? That says to them, I care for you, and it's usually turned into a real positive response. So again, I think those kinds of things are really great opportunities.
Well, there you have it. And then come on back next week for another conversation here on the Volunteer Youth Worker podcast.